there. Thank you for joining us today. I am Jack. I am the Word Witch, and this is my channel. And I just wanted to touch base with you guys very briefly here. Well, briefly as I can. Okay. Now, I changed the name of my channel not too long ago. It was originally the Reiki Witch, and I have changed it to the Word Witch. And I actually had filmed this video about a month ago, maybe even a little bit more, about why I changed the title of my channel. So I just wanted to kind of review that with you guys just really quickly. Again, as quickly as I can. I am quite the talker, I have to say. So here it is. All right. Now, I am 100% pagan and have been for most of my life, and that's not an issue. I've been a Reiki master for almost 5 years, and continue to study Reiki. I continue to study tarot, and there's a lot of other practices that I incorporate into my channel, which we've started to explore a little bit of. I've got one on pendulum work. I've got several with tarot and a few with Reiki as well, and there are definitely more coming. Okay, but for right now, the thing that made me want to change my channel, my title rather, the name of my channel, is because there's something else that I do that I am very proud of and have been doing for, again, most of my life, and that is writing. Now, I am a poet. I have been a poet since, I've been writing poetry since I was probably 10 or 11 years old. I think 11. But I remember, even as a kid, really small, reading Dr. Seuss books to my brother, and being determined that one day I was going to be a better poet than Dr. Seuss. Of course, I didn't understand then how much A, I would hate rhyming, and B, how difficult rhyming is to that capacity. It's insane. And now that I can sit down and look at those same books that I used to read to my brother, I can see that the level of skill required to write the way that he did, as prolifically as he did, was actually insane. There was so much that went into those, that the fact that at 5 years old I'm sitting there saying, oh, I'm gonna be a better poet than Dr. Seuss, yeah, that's not gonna happen. At least not in my opinion, not unless I figure out an easy way to rhyme. Okay, so one thing that really matters to me is my actual writing. Okay, hence the reason that I'm a poet. But I mean, I've been at it for a really long time, and I actually have 2 books that I've published already. And I don't know if I've mentioned them on previous videos or not. I do know that I did include them in the original video that I did to explain this name change. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about them. I will include links down below if anybody's interested, you want to check them out. I would love to hear what you guys think about the writing that I've done, and I will be sharing some of my writing here. So before I get into that, though, and we start sharing that information, I just wanted to say as well that the reason that I decided to incorporate everything together is because I actually have published work. I have 2 volumes of poetry that I've already published. I have 2 more in the works. I have one that's, similar to what I've done already, the same formatting and what have you, and another one that's really different. So it's about tarot cards, actually. Each poem is inspired by a single card. So there's going to be the 78 of them for, each card in the deck, in a standard tarot deck. I'm also going to be including things like some essays or just little bits of information to kind of guide you through how these poems came about and how I was inspired to write each particular piece, just to give you that little bit of extra depth to it. And the point of it is so that it's something that may be easier to learn the meanings behind the tarot, or to learn some of the additional depth that's in those cards by using a different medium than just that little white book that gives you a blurb of 2 sentences, and if you're lucky, a couple of keywords. Okay, so I'm going to be, I'm still working on that, so it's a work in progress. I'm about half finished with that one, and you know, again, like I said, I do have another volume on the go. So I do have, as I said, two volumes that I've done already. The first one is called Unwinding My Mind, and you can buy that on Lulu, or you can buy it on Amazon. On Amazon, you can buy it. Actually, I think on Lulu as well. You can buy them either print, or you can get it as an ebook, and you can, you know, have it on your Kindle or whatever. Then the second one is called A Thousand Words and Other Poems, and there's each book has its own theme. Okay, now Unwinding My Mind was my very first one. Some of the pieces in it were several years old by the time they were actually published, and some of them were very new and were written within a few days of actually submitting to Lulu. So that also does mean that they are self-published. Okay, so Lulu is my printer. I have my own publishing label, and I publish under that. So that's what that's all about. But anyways, so some of the work in it is, like I said, a little bit older. Some of it's definitely, you know, closer to publication, and the basic subject matter of the volume itself is living with a mental illness and what it's actually like to experience that. And the reason that's important to me is because I do have bipolar disorder. I do have different forms of anxiety. I actually have three different. I have generalized anxiety, I have social anxiety, and I have panic attacks. And they're all different, right? And then I have OCD tendencies, I have borderline tendencies, and I have ADHD. So I got a lot going on, and living with a lot of that is very challenging. So one of the mediums that I used to kind of cope with that upheaval that I was experiencing in my life at the time that I was writing the majority was to actually write about my life with these illnesses. And some of it wasn't even diagnosed yet. Okay, like I wasn't diagnosed with ADHD yet. That's only been about a month, a little over a month. And then I knew about my anxiety, but I didn't know about the borderline traits. I don't have borderline personality disorder, but I do have a lot of the traits of it without having enough to be diagnosed. So I'm kind of like borderline. Okay, so that was dumb. I'm sorry. Okay, so that was the first volume. So it can be very difficult to read at times. There are definitely there's definitely some imagery that I use in those poems that some people do find difficult to actually read or be confronted by. So, you know, if that's a volume that you're interested in, definitely keep that in mind. I'm pretty sure it's not as dark as what I make it out to be, but for me it is. So to me, when I'm reading my work, it comes out as being very dark when I read it back to myself. But I also have other people who have read the exact same work and have said, yeah, this doesn't sound anything like what you're describing. Like, it's not as dark and dreary. So, you know, it's interpretation, right? Now, the second volume was written based on photographs, actually, and drawings and paintings and the artwork in general. So my partner, we had just gotten together, and he was going to visit his mom, who lives in Florida. Jude's American, so you know, he would go down there and visit with her. And so we'd only been together for a few months, and we had only just moved in together. So he was leaving actually the same day that we moved into our first actual place together. So I was on my own, and it was really really anxiety producing being, you know, there on my own, and he wasn't there, and, you know, it was just really difficult. So he and I had a discussion, and he would start sending me pictures, and I actually started just before we actually moved in together, but it became a lot more frequent while he was away. And so he would go online and he would find images, just different images that he liked, It could be a tree. It could be a mountain. It could be a painting of houses on a cliff. It could be a sunset. At one point, it was a black hole. Like, it could be so many different things. Like, it really just, whatever struck his fancy at that time, he would send me those pictures. And so he might send me 4 and 5 at a time, and I would write a poem based on each of those images. Whatever it was that I was getting from that picture is what I was writing about. So the line, a picture is worth 1,000 words, is the source of the title, 1,000 words and other poems. And it's literally about the fact that all of these words were inspired by all of these pictures. So hence the title for that one. And again, that one is available at Lulu as well. Although it is not available digitally at this time. I'm looking at releasing a new edition of each of them, and so that they're kind of like a match set to go along with the new one that I'm going to be bringing out hopefully this year. That's kind of my goal right now. I tend to publish towards the end of the year. My first book was in, I believe it was October. My second one was in September. So I'm kind of looking at publishing around the same time of year. So I'm working on that. Now, going back to the renaming of my channel, I wanted to be able to incorporate my writing and what I'm actually doing with that into my channel, because I just want to share it with you guys. Like, I have always loved to write. I have always been a prolific writer, and there are times where the words will just flow, and they just flow from whatever muse is standing around me and to land on the page, and then I look at it and I can't do anything with it. I can't edit it. I can't make myself edit it. I might be able to change a word or two or change the punctuation, but really I'm not getting anything that's actually like a major adjustment to it. So a lot of my poems are what you see is what you get. Some of them have been edited, but a lot of them have not. At least not the way that you would think. I do edit them, but it's in my own way, and it's very small changes. So, anyways, that's kind of like a little bit about my writing process and what have you. But I do love to write. I do love I write short stories as well. I am currently working on one. The working title is The Spirit House, but I'm really not sure if it's going to stick. It's kind of a suspense / ghost story / horror, I guess. But it's a work in progress. It needs a lot more work before it would be releasable. But I do have that as well. And I'm kind of wanting to just share some of this stuff with you guys. Like, I'm working on a new poetry structure for me. Like, it's a new one. I tend to write free verse, and I don't rhyme. It's not a thing that I'm very good at, and I'm not good with structures. So all of my poetry is pretty much free verse. There's very little like prescribed structure to it. So this poem structure that I want to work on is called a villanelle, and it's a French format, and it's been used in a lot of in some actually really famous poems. My favorite one being Sylvia Plath's A Mad Girl's Love Song. And that's actually the poem that got me interested in the form in the first place. So I have been debating. Am I going to try it? Am I going to write in this form? And I decided I'm going to do it. So I've started the process. I've got all of like the structure mapped out, and like, it's really weird because I'm kind of looking at it as almost like a science project. Like, I don't know why, but that's kind of what it feels like to me. So I have like a list of rhyming words that I can use. I have like the rhyme scheme, so I know that it's like ABA for everything until you get to the end. I know I need 2 refrains that are going to repeat throughout the whole thing, and I have those. It's just a matter of actually creating the poem itself at this point. So I'm actually quite excited about how it's going to turn out. I'm sure the first attempt is going to be absolutely shit, but I'm going to try anyways. So what I'm going to do here, what I'm intending to do, is actually get on my TikTok, get online here, and I'm going to read it to you guys when it's done. So I really hope that, when the time comes, you guys will enjoy it. And I would love to hear what you think. Now, I will, as I said, include links to my books below. They are under the name Lauren Michelle. Okay, because that is the name I was writing under at the time. And that is because Jack is my chosen name and not my birth name, and Lauren is my birth name. So we don't call me Lauren. Okay, my name is Jack, and it's going to be legally changed, but I don't know if I'm going to change those 2 volumes because they were originally published already under a specific name, and I don't really know that I want to go back and actually change all of that data to make it under Jack Casey, which is what you'll find my books under moving forward. So I will include the links to the Lulu listing and to the Amazon listings as well, and it'll be print and ebook for Unwinding My Mind, since I do have both. So I'm going to end this. I actually do have tarot readings that I need to get back to. I kind of took a break so that I could jump on here and do this because I was so excited about writing this villanelle that I needed to come on and tell you guys all about it and like why I changed everything so that it was all covered. That way, by the time the poem itself is done, you guys know what's coming. So I am going to end it here, and that way I can, like I said, get back to my tarot readings. So if you would be so kind as to, leave comments below or check things out on my, check out the links that I'm going to post, and you'll also find the links to my socials down below as well. And let me see, it's evening here, so it's 9:25 here, so it's getting a little bit on the late side, and Jude will be home soon, so we're gonna end it here. I do hope you guys all have a wonderful evening and that you all take care. Sending all you love. Bye.